Hello, my love, and welcome back. Today, I want to share a really powerful process and the exact things that one of my students used to go from inconsistent $1,000 to $2,000 months in her business to having steady 10K months. And a lot of times people think this has to take years or it has to take intense strategy. And in my world, it doesn't take that at all. Obviously, that has its role, but that's not the focus, and that's not where the shift and the magic came in for her. So, I want to break down some of the different things that happened because when she first reached out to me and before she jumped inside my overflow bundle, which is one of my quantum healing hypnosis courses dedicated specifically to money and rewriting your energetic blueprint, changing your subconscious beliefs around what's possible and what you deserve, and shifting from potentially lack or scarcity into abundance and overflow. So before she joined this, though, she was in a place where for over 2 years in her business, she had been struggling and constantly in this wave of no matter how much she tried, no matter how much effort she was putting in, and no matter what kind of strategies she was trying to use, she kept being stuck around the $1,000 to $2,000 mark. And I remember when she reached out, she was so defeated by this because she was burning herself out, really exhausted, and knowing that she had so much to share and so much to give, and she had provided incredible readings and transformations for her clients and all these big shifts. So she's like, I know what I'm doing is needed and I know it's powerful, but I can't seem to open up to more abundance. And this is going to be especially beneficial for anyone who is an entrepreneur, a coach, heart-centered healer, any of that. But I also just want to note that even if you don't have your own business, these principles that I'm going to be sharing today are going to support you regardless, because I've seen incredible transformations and shifts in people's wealth blueprint, even if they are working at a job and they've been getting the same paycheck for years and years. And suddenly they do this energy healing work and the subconscious reprogramming, and they open up to raises or bonuses or new experiences and potentials and all these things that suddenly shift them into a new timeline. So the point is, if you've been feeling stuck and like you've been at the same level for a while, then this is exactly how she was feeling at the time. Okay, so let's break down some of the different things that she did and why it was so important. Because you know me, I kind of love nerding out over why this works and like what it all connects to and where it stems from. And I hope in the process of sharing that, it will support you in putting together pieces for yourself or opening you up and illuminating things that might be going on. So, one of the first things that was taking place was actually ancestral wounds towards money. So, she noticed through doing this work that there was past life karma attached to money wounds. And what showed up for her was a lifetime where she had inherited a lot of money, and her family members, like this big family, all started trying to use her, manipulate, get whatever they could, and it was unsafe for her to have money, right? What happens in the subconscious, and in my personal belief and understanding, our subconscious is very much our soul as well. So it's the part of us that has carried through all these different lifetimes. So it's like this data bank of information from all your incarnations in the earthly realm as well as in other galaxies and universes. So for her, her data bank had stored onto money trauma and fear of receiving, fear of having more. So in this lifetime, when she inherited all this money, all of a sudden so much chaos and drama came into her life. It tore apart the family dynamic because of their greed and money issues, and felt extremely unsafe for her in who she could even trust. So, as you can imagine, when we have something like that stored in our subconscious, that program is it's not safe to trust money, or it's not safe to have more, right? And that's an immediate money block right there, because now in this lifetime, even though she wasn't consciously aware of it, her subconscious was saying, ooh, like, it's scary, you can't have more, right? So she wanted to have 5K, 10K months. She wanted to be able to move down to the beach in Mexico and travel the world and work a digital nomad life and continue supporting clients at a greater scale. But even though that desire of what she wanted was so big, these programs playing out were basically holding her back and saying, oh no, it's not safe to have more money. It's not safe to expand into that, because people are going to use you. People are going to take from you. People are going to disrespect you. You're going to lose it all anyway, so you might as well stay here, right? There's so many different ways these narratives can play out. And thankfully, once we uncover it, then you can create a new story. You can retrain yourself to feel safe and to realize that that doesn't have to be a threat again now. And that's how we then can start to reprogram ourselves for more. So I remember that was like a huge pivotal shift for her. And already after shifting that piece, then she started having a few more clients coming in and more notifications of sales and bookings. And it was like, oh, I actually can start to receive this and feel safe around having it. Now, a second part that is not commonly talked about, I don't think, and yet is so crucial, especially for women, has to do with the power of your womb. And your womb is a sacred portal. So it's literally a space holder that births and that creates and births between realms, okay? So what happened to her is that she had a really traumatic experience in her kind of late teenage years, where she actually had toxic shock syndrome, which you can look up if you want to. I don't want to go into her full story, but she was hospitalized because of this, and it was a really scary experience, and obviously incredibly painful and intense health issue for her. So when we're looking at the womb, it's part of what helps to magnetize, because it's such a powerful energetic center. And when there is trauma, that can kind of throw off the natural magnetism. And again, the root and the sacral chakras are both in that lower portion of our body, right? The base, and then like the womb and the hips area. So both of those portals, both of those chakras, have to do with safety, security, pleasure, receiving, stability, right? And money falls into that. So if there is trauma or pain or energetic imbalance that's causing these chakras to not really operate at their highest, or that's causing potentially like imprints of pain or trauma or wounding or lack of safety, then you might not feel safe to actually open up and receive the abundance that's wanting to come in. So I want to invite you to reflect on this yourself, because it's similar to our energetic field in general. So I always relate it to a bubble. I don't believe it actually is, but it's like the easiest visual that I can give. And that works here as well, because the root and the sacral chakras are like round discs, kind of circular energetic centers, or energy vortices, right? If you think of this circle And then if you think of pain or trauma or wounding, and it's now getting like bumped or pushed or poked, or there's like little things, it's maybe not moving fully the way that it was meant to. Or you experience trauma and you start to collapse inwards a little bit. You don't feel safe to be at your fullest. And so there's like a protective mechanism of constriction. So that is obviously attempting to keep us safe, but then again, closing off our magnetism and our full energetic potential, as well as our full expression and our full openness. So just like that was going on in the womb area for her, that can be impacting your energetic field in general, where instead of being like this radiant, glowing bubble that is like pulling in abundance, right? And part of the natural ebb and flow of the universe, which is like the giving and receiving, giving and receiving. We live in an incredibly abundant world where there is more than enough. And it's about being the open channel for it to come in, and then also feeling safe to like invest and spend it out because you know there's more coming in again, right? This beautiful flow back and forth. That's our natural state. But if there is the fear, the trauma, the constriction, or any of the things I just mentioned, that can kind of cause that bubble, in my example, to get smaller, tighter, closer to you. And when it is suddenly like right around you, not only are you now feeling kind of squished and uncomfortable, but you're not giving and receiving and expanding to the full magnitude that you can. So it's like instead of the full floodgates opening of abundance to come in, there's just room for a tiny, tiny trickle, right? Just a tiny bit coming in. And this is something I've seen with so many women that I've worked with, is instead of allowing the fullness of the abundance, the money, the wealth to come into their field, they have so many stories, so many fears or blocks, so much guilt or shame around it because maybe they've been taught that it's greedy or it's bad or it's wrong or money is what's evil in the world. Like I grew up hearing a lot of those different things. That can then limit us to only receiving that little trickle, because the divine truly wants to support you, especially in general. It doesn't have any list for you to have to measure up to, but especially when you are heart-centered, especially when you're a caring, loving person. Like money in your hands can do so many incredible things on the planet. So you're maybe welcoming in only a trickle, and yet massive amounts are sitting right outside your energetic field, wanting to come in, wanting to bless you, wanting to support your experience and all that you're here for, and you've closed off to allowing it to come in. So all of this is different shifts we can make in order to receive more. And as this student of mine that I mentioned, as she started to make these changes and clear the past life trauma and heal the womb trauma around receiving, and then also start tapping into the desired reality of, instead of focusing on every month, it's the same old story, Groundhog Day, I only make 1,000 or 2,000, and like the kind of exhaustion around that, or the pain and the sadness around that, instead of being stuck in that place, she started tapping into the version of her who was already making 10K months. And one of the things I remember kind of like calling her forward on was even when she had languaging of like, if I make another sale, I'll be at 10,000. I was like, when you make another sale, like not having room for hesitancy, you know, the if, the hopefully, maybe, like afraid to get her hopes up because she felt she had been let down so many times before. Unfortunately, we then kind of keep ourselves locked in this loop because we're expecting the worst. and we're afraid to believe in the best. And so we just continue looping through something that's mediocre, and our soul has outgrown it. You know, you're ready for the next chapter and the next expansion, but the part of you is still stuck in that place. So the more she started, not only with her words, believing like, when I have the 10K month, and since I'm having the 10K month, I can start planning my move down to Mexico. I can start organizing things in my house and preparing, the like all the details that I need to have sorted. I'll start cleaning up things energetically and physically that are not aligned. She also stopped working so much, and she started to tap into, if I already had $10,000 worth of my clients, right, or $10,000 for this month, then that would look like more relaxation. That would look like more ease in my body. It would also look like more confidence, because until that point, she'd been feeling insecure because she felt like her business and her income wasn't showing her potential, her gifts, her offerings. And she had tied a lot of her confidence and self-worth into that. That's a completely another story for another day, because I've done that. I think a lot of people do that. And that also causes a lot of jumbling if we think we're only worthy once we reach a certain amount, or that money is the basis of our worthiness, right? It's all these different conditions and stories that just cause mayhem and mess. And ultimately, the best thing you can do, aside from the things I've just shared here, is like wanting to become a clear channel, releasing the different stories, the different conditions, the things you think you have to do first, right? Because even with everything I've just shared, and hopefully this doesn't make it confusing, but even with everything I've just shared, you could do none of that work. You could do none of those processes I just talked about, but you could just get clear within yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, that abundance is your birthright and money loves to support you. And you are an open channel for all that the divine wants to bring into you and flow through you, right? If you can believe that in every cell of your being, then you don't have to do all the other work, because you're opening yourself up and you're not creating stories or energies that block the money from coming in. The problem is that just most of us have so many stories in the way, and such deeply rooted belief systems and programming around money, that we do need some extra help, and we do need some extra tools to actually shift those really ingrained things and clear them out. So that is where this student did this process. This is why I've been doing this work for a few years now, and why it's absolutely changed my life. And this is where you can do the same if you're wanting more support. As I said, this is inside my Quantum Healing Hypnosis bundle called Overflow. It's probably one of my favorites, just because, like, I think the beliefs around money are so distorted, and I do feel like part of my greater purpose on the planet is to help shift that programming and really bring more money through to people who can treat themselves well, treat others well, and create positive ripple effects from that place. And we do need money to make an impact, or to make a bigger impact, and to override the systems that have been built from corrupt people and greedy people, right? And money-hungry people. So I'm really passionate about helping us shift that. And all the things I teach inside Overflow, it's filled with trainings and hypnosis activations and the quantum healing work to really clear things out of your energetic signature and align you with your desire and that next level. And the tools inside there are what helped me hit my first 10K month, then go on to 20K month. I had a 60K month. It wasn't sustained, but again, that's another story for another day. But it was a goal that I had set, and all the processes that I share inside Overflow are the things that helped me do that and continuously expand into more. So to finish this off, the link for that is in the description if you want to jump inside Overflow and do all this work for yourself as well and rewrite your entire story towards money. But I just realized I never summarized her end game, but within a month of doing this work, she hit her $10,000 month, which was her goal, and she had steady 10K months for the rest of the year. So that was about halfway through the year, I think, when she started it. So she had like 5 or 6 in a row, $10,000 months, continued seeing success in her business, was able to move down to Mexico, continue running her business there, pay off a lot of debt, really start to feel empowered and confident in her own path and her passions and what she was creating in the world, and ultimately have the tools and the processes to come back to for every single new money goal. So from inconsistent $1,000 to $2,000 months to steady 10K months as her normal and as her baseline, she recoded her entire framework for who she is and how money works with her and what she's worthy of and what's normal. And her whole reality changed from that place. So if you're ready to do the same, the link is down below. I would love to see you in there and support you through this process. And let's welcome in all the abundance that's waiting for you and that wants to support you, because money is just like a loving friend and it wants to have a loving relationship and a lasting relationship. So you gotta let it in. I hope this was helpful. I will talk to you again soon. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you inside Overflow.